Big benefit of owning your own business is being able to write off expenses. But how do you claim a tax deduction for things that were once illegal in New York, like marijuana plants and paraphernalia? Well, now the DEA is considering rescheduling, sort of reclassifying cannabis. That would get rid of the IRS code that prevents drug dealers from claiming tax deductions for business expenses. The Department of Health and Human Services has already said marijuana should not be in the same category. It's called Schedule 1 as heroin and LSD like it is right now. Cannabis was listed as a Schedule 1 drug in 1969. When Nixon was president. Joining us live now is Joe Schaefer. He's an attorney with Lippis Mathias and co-leader of the firm's cannabis practice team. In one report, NBC News said, Joe, that this change could save the marijuana industry hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So how crucial would this change be for small business owners?
Yeah. By the way, thanks for having me, Kelly. Great to be back on. Look, this could be a real game changer, especially for a lot of the markets around the country, whether it's New York or mature markets like California, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, and Massachusetts. Right now, cannabis business owners cannot deduct cost of goods sold, and there are significant financial challenges. Most federally chartered, or nearly all federally chartered banks will not even touch a cannabis business, whether it's medical or adult use. Sometimes we're having cannabinoid hemp operators in New York State having trouble with this. So what this really does is it opens kind of financial services for cannabis businesses, which are otherwise, predominantly operating in cash right now, and hopefully saving them in tax in the long term. It's not final yet, like you said, but there's a lot of optimism with the Health and Human Services letter that came out the other day.
And like you said, in most of these stores right now, if you go, you have to pay with cash. There's high security, not just for the product, but because people are going in there with wads of cash. Would this change that potentially?
Yeah, and look, there have been a number of industry solutions, whether they're digital wallets, but again, the majority of these interactions, and they're getting better, are cash. So from a security standpoint, certainly, I think if you open up federal banking to adult use cannabis businesses, it makes the whole process run smoother, whether that's being able to just walk in and pay with a credit card as opposed to going through, like I said, a digital wallet or walking in with cash.
Changing topics now, what changes would be made then to medical studies that could be done with marijuana? Because right now that's super restricted.
Super restricted, yes, exactly. And right now, because like you said, cannabis is treated as a Schedule 1 substance under the Controlled Substances Act, it means there is both high potential for abuse, and the federal government sees no medical benefit whatsoever. So accordingly, you have to jump through a number of major hoops in order to even study cannabis. And to prove that you're not a federal or a Schedule 1 substance, you have to demonstrate those medical benefits. But how? It's a catch-22, because how can you show it if you can't study it? So this is where this Health and Human Services letter really comes in and says, hey, if we reschedule to Schedule 3, then you're going to be able to conduct these clinical trials because there is potential medical benefits. And we're seeing that because there are so many states that have at least a medical cannabis program. I think it's 38 was the last number I read, but I could be wrong about that.
So bottom line, where does this stand right now? Is there a timeline for when the DEA could have a decision?
I don't know if I think the DEA dodged that, and they now have to conduct their own independent investigation. They're going to use the recommendation from Health and Human Services, which was done in 11 months. So the DEA has to do their own investigation. But I think the momentum is truly strong right now, that we might, for the first time in the history of the legal adult use markets and medical markets, see a rescheduling, which could really be a game changer and help businesses out, both small and big.
All right, Joe Schaefer, an attorney with Lippis Mathias and co-leader of the firm's cannabis practice team. Thank you for sharing part of your night with us.
Thanks, Kelly.